Hello people, I'm TheRealComicBookGamer, and long time no see. So I'm posting a little bit, but I'm back right now. I'm doing my Emerald City Comic Con haul video. So I went to Emerald City Comic Con, and it's been a few weeks. The reason I didn't post immediately after Emerald City Comic Con was because I caught the plague. So I went 2 days, and the first day was great, it was good. Second day, I felt okay in the morning, and then when I got to the con, it hit me after walking around for like 30 minutes. I was just like, oh no, I'm slowly dying. I caught the plague, and then I was able to tucker through the day. It was still fun. I was just slowly dying, and then when I got home, I was just dead. The next day, I had a really bad fever, and I was just dying, and throughout that week, it was just really bad. Then I recovered, now I'm good, and so here I am. I just want to cover some of the comics and stuff that I got at Emerald City Comic Con, because my favorite part about going to cons is getting cheap trades and comics and finding stuff that you can't find other places, and meeting creators and stuff is fun also, which I'll talk about that as well. But let's go through what I got. First off, the only statue or collectible type thing that I got was the Batman Who Laughs statue. It was $40, so it was retail price. I didn't get like a good deal or anything. It's like the exact retail price. But it's pretty sick. It's only plastic, so it's not like super high like quality or anything, but it looks good, it feels good, it's nice, I'm happy about it, it's sick. I'm loving the Batman Who Laughs miniseries right now. I also just read Batman Metal for the first time. I liked it, by the way. I'm probably not gonna do a video on it, but I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was like a 7 out of 10 book. It felt a lot more like a setup for what's coming up now. Like, it wasn't that amazing, but it wasn't bad either. The ending was definitely lackluster, and I didn't really care for some of the stuff with Superman. Some of the stuff with Superman and Batman was cool, and some of the other stuff wasn't. But anyways, I got Jonah Hex, Luck Runs Out. Kind of sucks about this is the fact, I mean, book's amazing, but the problem about this is I have like 90% of the Justin Gray, Jimmy Palmiotti run on Jonah Hex, and so I forget which trades I have and I don't. I already had this trade, so I just bought it again. But the good thing is it kind of worked out, because the original copy I had was kind of like good quality, but it had like this thing in it because it was used and like it was on sale and stuff, and so it was already kind of used to where this was like basically brand new. So that part worked out, and also it got me to reread it. It's so good. There's some really good stories in there. And then I also got some more Jonah Hex. I got Jonah Hex Two Gun Mojo, which is one of his Vertigo series. He's had a couple. I also got the first issue of Jonah Hex Shadows West, which is another one of his Vertigo series, because Jonah Hex used to be a Vertigo title for a little bit, which had I really like Two Gun Mojo. I already read it. It was good. Just I don't like the design for Jonah Hex. I hate his design. They like give him an earring and long hair and stuff, and it just doesn't look good. But the story was good. But they didn't have, the guy that I bought them from didn't have the rest of Shadows West, and I couldn't find any other retailer that had the rest of Shadow West, so I just got the first issue of that series. So it was good though. I was happy about it. I just wish I could find more Shadow West. Got Animal Man, also read this already. Really good. This is from Jeff Lemire. This was during New 52. Insane. It's really weird, but it's really good. Even though the story is, I don't know, the family aspect of it, along with like the weird horror-ish type vibes and the crazy art, reminded me of Witches. Now, the story and stuff's completely different, but it's just like they had some aspects that are similar, so it reminded me a little bit of Witches, if anyone's read that. But don't go in and expecting, if you read it, like expecting just like Witches, but it reminded me of it. The art, though, I don't know, the art's good in some places, some of it's not. Like, when everything goes crazy insane, the art's good. When it's just normal, it's like, I'm not the biggest fan of it. But overall, I really enjoyed the book. Then we got Batman Robin, Volume 1 from Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. I've read some of this series during the New 52 when it happened, but I saw this there. It was $5. I was like, yeah, I love Peter J. Tomasi. I'll buy anything pretty much he writes now after Superman Rebirth. I'll buy pretty much anything he writes, so I bought it, and I'm excited to read it. And it is, again, $5. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, that's what most of the stuff was. I did not pay over $10 for a single trade. Most of them were $5. A couple of them were $10. I got Superman Transformed, which this is the lead up to when Superman transforms into like Superman Blue and Superman Red. So I'm happy about that, to finally have like a collection of that. Got Suicide Apocalypse Now. I mean Suicide Squad. So I already have like Volume 1 of Ostrander's original run on Suicide Squad, and I really enjoyed it. I read it a while ago, so I wanted to get more Suicide Squad, and they had it there for $5. So I was like, yes, and this is a thick book too. So happy about that. Got Flash Volume 3 from Rebirth. This was also $5. Not the best quality. You can see that right there. Like, there's a little, but it was $5, so I can't complain. And I already have, like, Volume 1 of Flash Rebirth. I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to read more of Josh Williams' Flash, so I got that. Got Superman Camelot Falls, which I have already read this years ago when I my first ever comic shop that I went to, that I used to go to forever ago. That closed down in 2014, so that shows you how long ago it was that I read this. I bought all the issues and read it, and I really enjoyed it. And like actually, like a year ago, I was looking for the collected edition. I saw it on Amazon. I was like, I don't know if I want to get it yet. I'll wait. And they had each of them there for $5. I was like, screw it, I'm getting it. And I got it, and I reread it, and it's so good. I love Camelot Falls. It's a really good story to where Superman's just doing his normal thing, and then a dude from Atlantis. Now this is Atlantis before it dropped into the ocean, so before the fall. He's like a magic guy or whatever. He's from the past. He goes to the future and he tells Superman, he's like, hey, you're going to be the cause of you're going to be the cause of the end of civilization because you've been basically babying humanity too much. So you've been pushing back this darkness, so it's all getting bottled up, and then one day it's going to basically explode, and it's going to cause the end of humanity, and you get a really cool post-apocalyptic stuff that you see a little bit, and Superman has a choice of basically go into hiding and do whatever, but can't help people, and so let people die and all this stuff come out. But instead of like all the darkness being held back and all of it just hitting everyone at once, it would gradually just be like, okay, people are dying, bad stuff's happening, but it's not like all at once where it's apocalyptic. And Superman has that choice, and of course you know what choice Superman's going to make, and it made for a really interesting story, and I really loved it. It was fantastic, honestly, and I was so glad that I was able to find these collected editions. I got to reread it because it was fantastic. Here we have Shadowland. We've got the main story right here, and we've got the Daredevil part of it. So this was a storyline where like Daredevil led the Hand, I'm pretty sure. I've read about it a while ago, but I never actually read it. So I wanted to get it, and they had it there, and I was like, cool, I'll get it. And I didn't. They had a bunch of the tie-ins, like everywhere I went, they had tie-ins to Shadowland, but only one vendor actually had the main story, and they also had the Daredevil part of it. I'm like, well, it's about Daredevil, so I'll get the Daredevil tie-in. That's the only one that makes sense to get. And I got G.I. Joe America's Elite. This is volume 3. I have a bunch of these random volumes. Thankfully, I didn't already have this one. I didn't do what I did with Jonah Hex. So I'm always buying like random G.I. Joe trades from mid-2000s. That's to me when G.I. Joe was like at its prime in terms of comics. Not in terms of like overall G.I. Joe, but in terms of comics, mid-2000s. I was like when I was growing up. And that's when I really thought the comics were great. And yeah, America's Elite's pretty good. Got Sweet Tooth. We got the big like omnibus-ish type collected versions, volume 2 and volume 3. So that's cool because I already had like the first 3 volumes of Sweet Tooth, but they're not the omnibus versions. They're the tiny little trades. So this will cover a lot of that. I love Sweet Tooth. It's my favorite indie book. I've talked about it before, and so I was happy to see that. And they were each like, I think these were either $5 or $10. I don't remember, but that's super cheap for how thick these books are. But yeah, that was everything I got there. Ooh, I just moved the camera. But I want to talk real quick about some of the creators I met. So I met Kyle Higgins, who I met last year also. He was great. He's really cool. I also got to see a panel with him. But when I talked to him, I talked to him a little about Winter Soldier, which he's currently writing a miniseries for. I talked to him about Nightwing and stuff. He was saying... So I asked him about Winter Soldier. It's like, is it going to be a continued series? He's like, we originally wanted it to be an ongoing, but it didn't sell well enough. So Marvel's like, nah. So it's just going to be a miniseries. It's like, damn it. So by the way, if you're not reading Winter Soldier, it's really good. First issue was like, okay. It wasn't great. It was good, but wasn't great. Then the second, third, fourth have all been really good. And I really like the story that's going on. And it's great. And he said he's having a lot of fun writing it. I could see that. He really likes it. And at the panel, when talking about Winter Soldier, he said, hey, if you guys want to read a really good Nightwing story, read my Winter Soldier run right now. I was like, oh, that hurts, because DC could have Kyle Higgins writing Nightwing right now if they want to, because he loves Dick Grayson. If you guys don't know about Kyle Higgins, he's a huge Nightwing fan. I'm pretty sure that's his favorite comic book character. And but DC has Rick Grayson going on instead of him, so it's like... I also asked him about Rick Grayson. I was like, "What?" I was like, "Did you feel physical pain during the whole Rick Grayson thing?" He's like, "Yeah, that was not a smart move by them." He was saying that apparently DC has wanted to do that for a while. He said there are people there that just don't understand Dick Grayson. They've wanted to do that for a while. At first, immediately, my head went, Dan DiDio, that's who he's talking about. But then secondly, my head went, maybe he's also talking about Tom King? Because if you go on Reddit or anything and you look at Rick Grayson stuff on like DC Comics Reddit, everyone goes back and forth about, was it Tom King's idea? Was it Benjamin Piercy's idea? Was it Dan DiDio's idea? Like everyone has insider knowledge and says, no, it wasn't this guy's idea. It was this guy's. No, it wasn't this guy. And everyone says that. And I don't know whose idea it was. I don't think it was Benjamin Piercy's. He wanted to do a Vertigo arc with Nightwing to where like he got injured and then suddenly like he had trouble, bouncing off rooftops because he had vertigo and like wanted to do a really interesting like detective story. But then DC's like, nah, screw that. We're going to give him amnesia. And Benjamin Piercy's like, yeah, I'm out. And he left. And so he's at Marvel now, which sucks because his Nightwing run was great. Anyways, yeah, so the reason I think it might be Tom King, not just Dan DiDio that he's talking about, is because Tom King, if you think about it, co-wrote Agent Grayson, which I like that series. Him and Tim Seeley did a good job for the most part. But he said DC's been wanting to do this for a while. I'm like, I could see Tom King wanting to have done this during the Grayson era. That definitely sounds like a very Tom King thing, since his passion is just writing depressed superheroes. That's all he knows how to do. So, granted, he does a great job sometimes, and other times you get heroes in crisis. But anyways, yeah, I think this might have been Tom King he's talking about. Some bald guy he's talking about. Dan DiDio or Tom King. Choose your bald man. But yeah, he was just like really upset about DC. It seemed he just didn't seem into that. And on his panel, when talking about Nightwing, he's talking about Nightwing the New Order, which was his last Nightwing story that he did. And he's talking about how he's really happy with it. How was his like Dark Knight Returns for that. So his like opus or whatever you want to call it, his magnum opus. And so he was like, if that's the last time I get to write Nightwing, I'm happy. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I wish they get Kyle Higgins back, though, because he clearly loves the character, and he's done a great job with everything he's done with Nightwing. He kind of got gypped on the New 52 run that he did, because he did a great job, but they kept making him tie in to the Scott Snyder Batman stuff, which Scott Snyder Batman stuff is great, but don't force other writers to tie into it, but they kept having to do it. They're like, oh, Damian's dead, he's got to do a Requiem book. Oh, Court of Owls, he's got to do that. Oh, Death in the Family, or Death of the Family, he's got to do a tie-in with that. So, like, Kyle Higgins had no time to do his own story arcs. He only had like a couple times, so that part kind of sucked. But when he was actually doing his original stories, Kyle Higgins did a great job. Anyways, I also talked to Rod Reese, who is the artist on Winter Soldier. He was cool. English isn't his first language, though, so his English is a little so-so, but it's pretty good for the most part. And I was talking to him about Winter Soldier, and I also talked to him about Cal, which was a book that Kyle Higgins and Rod Reese did. They did it over at Image. It was an original book. It's pretty cool. I like that indie book. Last year I asked him about it also, and this year I asked him again. I was like, are we going to get volume 3 for Cal? Because we've only got 2 volumes. They're like, we want to. But Rod Reese was saying his goal right now is to lay off indie stuff for a bit and try to build his name up at Marvel. He's like, I want to become a big name at Marvel to where I'm wanted more, and so that way I can sell more books and I can go and make Cal Volume 3. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's cool. And he's like, then hopefully maybe we could get a Cal TV show or something, or a movie. I was like, a Cal HBO show would be awesome. He's like, yeah, that'd be so cool. But Rod Reese was dope. He was super fun to talk to also. I met Matthew Rosenberg, who's the current writer on Punisher, and I really like the current run on Punisher. And I felt kind of bad when I talked to him because I had seen him on Twitter talk about G.I. Joe for. I even talked to him on Twitter about G.I. Joe for like a second. And when I got there, I was like, I love your Punisher run. It sat down like the first 10 issues or whatever I had and asked him to sign them. And then I immediately started talking about G.I. Joe with him. And I was like, man, are you ever going to write G.I. Joe? And he's like, when I was having contract negotiations with Marvel, G.I. Joe, IDW approached me to write a G.I. Joe series, and I almost said yes, but then I went with Marvel because obviously Marvel's going to be paying way more than IDW. IDW sales have a lot of trouble, so they're obviously not paying that much. But so he went with Marvel. He didn't say that, but that's obviously why, and it makes sense to me, of course. If you're making a career decision, it's going to be like, of course, I'm going to go where I'm getting paid more. But he's like, eventually down the road, I want to write G.I. Joe. It's my dream book. And we talked about G.I. Joe comics. He talked about how he liked Cobra's Last Laugh, which, as you guys know, is one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. And it was really cool. Then I left the table after getting my comic signed. Then I was like, oh, crap. Was I a dick? Because I talked to him about other people's books, but I didn't talk to him about his own book at all. It felt I felt bad after that. I didn't even think about it because it just felt like talking to another G.I. Joe fan, which was awesome. But I didn't even think about it. I was like, I should have talked to him about his own books. I'm so sorry, because I did immediately say, I love your Punisher run when I sat the books down there. I was like, but when are you going to write G.I. Joe? And then, yeah, I felt kind of bad about that. What other creators did I meet? I met some others. I don't remember who else, but those were like the only 3 that I really had like conversations with. I almost met Chip Zdarsky. His line was pretty long, so I was like, I'll skip it. His was right next to Kelly Sue Dunn, whatever her name is, the chick that wrote some of Captain Marvel, that acts like she created the character. She was there, and she was at lunch when I was going to Chip's thing, so she wasn't there, but I saw her like booth banner or whatever, and it says like crusher of the patriarchy or something. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh, that's great. But I don't think there wasn't really anyone else that I had like long conversations with or anything. There wasn't as many creators this year that I wanted to meet. I really wanted to meet Judd Winnick, but I couldn't find him because he wasn't there as a comic book writer. He was there as an author, as like a just, you know, like, because he does like children's books now, so he was there at a different part to where you'd have like scheduled signings and stuff. And when the one time like I found where he would be at, they didn't have any scheduled signings, even though they said he was going to be there that day. And I was like, damn it, I really wanted to meet Judd Winnick and talk to him about his Green Arrow run and stuff. But overall, I had a lot of fun at Emerald City Comic Con. It was great. Both days were fun, even though I was dying the second day. It was still a ton of fun that day. And I love conventions. I wish there were more that I could really go to, but out here there's kind of like Emerald City Comic Con. That's like it. Besides PAX, but in terms of comic conventions, there's just like Emerald City Comic Con. That's it. But yeah, it's fun though. It's only once a year, but it's fun to go to. But anyways, I'm gonna try. I always say this. I always say I'm gonna try to upload more, and I never do. But I'm going to try to. I have ideas. It's just the time that it takes to make them. I'm trying to make them really good. That it's like it ends up taking a while, and I'm trying to do that. I'm sorry, my nose is super itchy right now, but I'm trying to make the videos really good. So I'll try to have some more out now that I'm not dying and I've got more time because I'm not dying. But yeah, hopefully do that. And I might do as far as streams go, I have been streaming every once in a while. I know you guys want videos, but I'll probably be streaming on the weekends again, try to get that consistently. We'll see. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I talked at like 100 miles an hour, but I just had a lot of stuff to get out, and this video still went to around 17 minutes. Cool. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.